that's our full classic physique lineup, everyone. So now Naz and I are gonna make our top five picks, and we'll do it in classic fashion where we do top five alternating. If that sounds
Yeah,
good to you, man,
yeah.
and we'll just go from five to one that way. So I'll let you give your fifth place pick first.
So in fifth place, I am gonna put Jared. I do think he can go higher, but the only reason I don't have him any higher is simply because everyone else that I'm looking at, the conditioning is one of their strengths. Again, like I said, structure wise and muscularity, he can stand with any of them, potentially beat any of them. And like we said, the presentation is phenomenal. He'll probably have one of, if not the best routine, and posing on the show. I just think that for this show, conditioning is going to be, it's going to be a huge factor. I mean, the next, everyone else on my lineup is absolutely peeled to the bone, especially in the area that I was talking about, the lower back, glutes and hams, which I would desire from that looking at this video. This is just based on, again, on the most recent, his most recent showing. It's just a little bit more left to be desired there. But I think that, like you said, if you said he's dropping, whether you said it's 5% or £5, like if he comes in £5 lighter, those glutes and hams will be absolutely dug out. And then I do think that he will actually be contending for the win if he does have that condition to match up with these guys.
Yeah, that's a great pick, man. I think you definitely gave good reasoning and it was very well articulated because I'm not even gonna lie, bro. That was my fifth place pick for the exact
Mm,
same reasons. Just simply because, as you have mentioned before, European conditioning is no joke, bro. And
mm,
Jared is very good. This was an all-time best in terms of condition, but like you said, we just need to see just a touch more. And I
mm.
think I don't know if it's a condition thing or if it's a peaking thing
Yeah,
because
well, that's the thing. It's not. I mean, you can see on other body parts, his midsection's dry and detailed. So, like you said, it may be a peaking thing. It's just more so, when we look at it on stage, the judges sometimes give you feedback. You miss your peak, but they tell you they want you to be a bit more conditioned. Really, it just means, perfect that peak so you bring all the details out. Because pretty much everywhere else, like for me, the quads have enough detail, even on like these kneeling poses. The glutes, they are striated. It's just really when he hits that back double, and you have guys in this lineup like Julio, for example, who he's going to hit that back double, and every single part of his physique is going to be just diced, and he's also another one who's got like the strength of having muscularity on his side, like Jared, but then every other pose is also going to be just as conditioned, and just as big as Jared's will be, really.
yeah. So Jared Feather in fifth place for the both of us. So now who's your fourth place
My
pick?
fourth place was, hold on a second. So my fourth place, I do actually have Julio in fourth place, but like, I mean, honestly, the next four placings they could all flip flop. Like this is a show where there is favorites, but there isn't. There's favorites based on placings and structure, but like when you look at all these guys, either current updates or very recent showings from what 1 or 2 weeks ago, or like the wild cards. I mean, this physique here, if he comes in exactly like this for me is like easily a top three physique. It's just that because I have some more recent updates from some of the other guys who have either placed higher than this place in here, or maybe structurally have a little bit of a better structure, and they're more recent. That's why I'm placing him in fourth. But like, if he comes in exactly like this, that might win the show.
Yeah, man, that's a great pick. So in fourth place, I'm actually going to go with Jesus Rodriguez. I
Mhm.
think the big frame and the condition's going to carry him far amongst this lineup. We definitely know the condition, the muscle maturity is not going to be an issue. He'll be
No.
probably the biggest guy on stage.
Yeah, so he's my dark horse. I just wrote him down. I don't have him in my top five, but for the same reason I've got Julio a bit further back, is we just don't have any recent. showings, but he's in my dark horse to like just win the show. You know, like I said, he's beat elite like highest level pros. Like again, Peter Morner. I think he's been a top 10. Peter's been a top 10 guy in the classic physique Olympia before. I think. Again, really really dominant physique, and like I said, I think he's the only guy in this lineup who is like tall. You know, like a bigger guy, like a Laszlo or somebody. And if he does have, what he had to win previous pro shows and go to the Olympia, that's why he's my dark horse, because he'll be winning the show.
Yeah, he's a seasoned vet, and I think that's going to carry him far. I will say the only reason why I have him in fourth place is just because I think the top three, they're all going to beat him structurally.
Yeah,
I think structure is going to win this show,
yeah.
actually. So
Mhm.
I've got him in fourth. All right. So who
So
is in third for you?
my third place is Sebastian. Tiny little bit of bias in my top two, can't lie. But again, his second place was it last week or the week before. Again, beautiful physique, amazing structure, conditioning is where it needs to be. Like I said, when we talk about Jared, like this guy's conditioning, at least in this photo, is ahead. So I think he'll be battling out in the top three. Realistically, for me, I think there's going to be a top three first call out. Well, after the first call out, I think there'll be a top three, and I have him in there. It's just a case of like with a pose like this, it's a little hard to tell how he's going to look in those mandatories against my other two guys. I don't think that conditioning will be an issue for him. I don't really think size will be an issue. So again, it's just a case of whether the other two are as conditioned as I hope they are. And then, we'll see where they stack up against him. But he's at my third place pick.
All right. So Sebastian Thorell in third place. So my third place pick is actually going to be, um, let's see here, Adrian Ciranek out of Poland. I think this guy is just crazy gifted, man,
Mm,
and super peeled, etched in lines, very balanced, proportionate. I do think, he's already punched his ticket to the Olympia.
mm,
So, I think he's going to bring a great look, but I do think the other guys might have a little bit of just like a wow factor that's gonna take over. He
yeah,
looks fantastic and he could win the show, but like I think there's an element where it's an unspoken just like beauty to the physique
yeah.
where I
It's,
got
it's
the
almost
top.
sometimes if you're too balanced, you almost don't stand out as much. If you have something, whether it's crazy developed arms or huge shoulders or a tiny waist, which he is super balanced, and he does have great arms, but there isn't something quite like what the other two guys have. The other two guys, um, like well a few of them even in the places above him, like I would argue Julio is a little bit more of that wow factor as well. But Adrian, this is the thing with classic, like sometimes they do love a really balanced conditioned physique, and he ticks all the boxes as far as that's concerned.
Yeah. So he's in third place for me. So Naz, who's your second place pick?
So I actually have Adrian in my second pick, and it's because of the win. He's proven that he's beaten a lot of these guys just very recently. I really like his physique. I think that the only reason I don't have him in first again is a structure thing. But conditioning, I think he can stand there with anyone. Muscularity again, he can stand there with pretty much anyone. It's just I think that like we've been talking about, the wow factor is not quite there for him in comparison to my winner.
So my second place pick is going to be I got Yemi in second. And Yemi is I will preface this with I think Yemi could win this show. Just like I said, Adrian could win.
Yeah,
I think realistically there's probably if I had to put like probabilities on it, like there's probably three or four guys with a sizable
yeah,
odds of winning this show. Yemi's definitely one of them, as
yeah.
well as Adrian, probably Jesus too. But
Mhm.
the thing that Yemi has that a lot of these other guys don't have is he's got the wow factor, man. Like
Yeah.
he's got that thing, man. You just can't describe it. The crazy aesthetics, the lines, the condition's going to be there. Absolutely, I have no doubt about that.
Mm,
Um, I will say the only thing that I think is, um, gonna potentially have the so I have another guy winning the show. I think really what it's gonna come down to is just detail, just a
mm,
slight edge in terms of detail. The guy I've got winning is not as good structurally as Yemi, but I think he's a little bit denser and then probably just has a little bit more detail. But like I
yeah.
said, I think Yemi could win this show, man.
Yeah.
Just fantastic athlete.
Yeah. So Yemi is my winner, my first place winner. Obviously, tiny little bit of bias considering, we're really good friends and we've trained together. But in comparison to what I've seen from him and this is just such a drastic transformation. It kind of almost reminds me a little bit of myself. Like when you compare my Arnold package to my Toronto package, it's just so different because with the M Pro show that he did, disappointed is not the right word. It's just a case of we knew he's capable of so much more. And I think almost doing that show has kind of lit the fire he needed to get the condition. Like I said, with me and him, we've always known. I think with him, it was a little more of the size. And like when you look at these two shots here, the first you're not thinking, he needs to be bigger. I mean, back density and width, like the width is insane, and that now he's built up the density in the middle of the back. The legs have come up, absolutely. I mean, in person, one thing I will say is in person, Yemi's a lot bigger than his pictures make it seem, but his legs are huge. Like he has blown up his legs. I think it's just maybe the angles that we use on Instagram or whatever, or iPhone pictures. His legs again, they look big here, but they are big legs. He's built them up a lot, which is something that he definitely needed with that small waist. Now it's even more exaggerated with the X frame. And I also will say, with him and Adrian, for me, it can go either way. I think they both embody classic, just in two very different ways. Kind of like how Chris Bumstead and Brion, they both embody classic physique. They've both been Mr. Olympias, but you can't compare them like in similarities. You can only really compare them in differences. And I think Adrian and Yemi are kind of like that. Adrian doesn't have the tiny waist, and then but for what he lacks in a tiny waist, he makes up for in muscularity, balance, and just the little details. So yeah, that's why I will say I have Yemi as my winner. But if I'm being totally unbiased, I do think it can go either way with Adrian and Yemi.
All right, so Naz got Yemi winning this one. My winner is gonna be Julio.
Yeah,
I think Julio Gorilla is like I don't know, bro. There's just something that
yeah,
I
man.
think
I
he's
will
gonna
not be
bring.
surprised if he wins. Not at all.
Like the level of detail just
Mm,
wows me, man. Like I haven't seen condition like this very often. I mean,
no.
there are a couple of guys who have wowed me this year. Like among those would be uh Amin Chapon, seeing him at like
Yeah,
RGB, like that guy was inside
yeah.
fucking out, man. Like, and I think Julio has that level of condition or close to
Yeah.
it, man.
No,
It's
I'll agree with you there. Like that conditioning can stand with pretty much any bodybuilder. There's nowhere that you look at, and his development as well. Sometimes when you get into a level of condition, it exposes you a little bit. Maybe your arms aren't developed enough, or maybe you need a little bit more depth to the chest or the back. And again, here he fits in classic because everything's developed. Now I know what you're saying. Obviously, structurally, Yemi's superior, but he doesn't have this level of conditioning. Like as much as I love him, and he's one of my best friends. Like I'm not just gonna be delusional and lie. Like there's probably no one on this stage that has that conditioning. And like I said, the only reason for me I had him a little further back is simply because I haven't seen any more recent pictures. And everyone else has competed very, very recently, and a couple of those guys, have that. They do have elite conditioning as well, but yeah, if this guy comes in exactly like this, then I would have to change my placings, immediately.
Yeah, I think he's gonna take over with the detail, and he has a lot better structure than I think people really highlight. So
Mhm.
I think he's just probably the most complete guy, the best all around guy in this
Yeah.
lineup. So that's my reasoning for Julio Gorilla taking this one. And again, Naz picking Yemi for his winner. So those are our picks. And before we wrap things up, just want to give another huge shout out to Naz for taking the time, just talking some classic, and doing this 4.5 weeks out of the Olympia. It truly means
No,
a lot, bro.
of course, man. We always appreciate you covering every show, pretty much all the pros, taking time to find everyone's Instagrams as well, because that's not easy. There's some pros who they don't really post at all, maybe they've got other jobs, whatever. So anytime that we can promote classic, I think it's something we need to do. And yeah, man, you supported from day one. So, of course, any time that we can give back. And yeah, man, just it's been a pleasure to talk. I'm really excited for this show. It was a really good one to cover. And I love that. I think last time, we covered a show, it was a little bit more kind of maybe one or two guys could win. And they were kind of a little bit more ahead of everyone else. And I like this show because there is really four, maybe five guys that can all win, like, all have the same percentage chance of taking that Olympia qualification.
Yeah, man, and it's been an absolute pleasure. It's always fun, talking to you, bro, and just catching up, whether it's on camera or off camera. So,
Yeah,
yeah, make sure you guys go give Naz a follow here. Stay tuned because he's making his Olympia debut here in 4.5 weeks, and I have a feeling he's gonna shock some people. So,
that's the goal,
make
man.
sure you guys, hell yeah, dude. So make sure you guys give him a follow here. But that's gonna do it for today's preview. Um, Want to make sure you guys are reminded to like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Spread the message. We're covering classic physique like nobody else here at CPC Bodybuilding. And then also subscribe to the channel. And again, make sure you give Naz a follow. Naz, are you on YouTube as well?
Yeah, yeah. So my YouTube is just my name. I have been doing videos here and there through my prep. I'm going to try and do a few more, as we get closer. I'm going to try and frequently get more videos out. But yeah, my YouTube name is just Naz Darwin. That's the channel name. And yeah, I've been filming, food, training, even just, talking and just kind of day to day life of what it's like training for a first Olympia.
Awesome, man. And I'll be sure to link that in the description below so you guys can go find all of his links and support him and subscribe to his channel. So that's going to do it for the preview today, guys. I'm Brant. That's Niall. Make sure you guys keep it classic. We'll catch you later.